Good morning, everyone. Let us all bow our heads as we have our invocation.
Dear God, thank you for allowing us today to meet and share our knowledge and time with one another in this webinar. We are truly grateful for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. May you extend your divine wisdom to our speaker so that he would be able to impart effectively his God given knowledge to all of us. Bless the participants as well so that they would be able to glean the vital information from this activity and spread what we've learned in the spirit of your love and generosity. May we realize that this activity should glorify your name. Amen.
Before we start, let me remind you of the following. If you are using your laptop, you may maximize your viewing access by clicking the option button at the top portion of your screen and selecting the side-by-side mode. In case of technical difficulties or disconnection, click the provided link sent to your email address to access the webinar room again. The evaluate link will be flashed on the screen at the end of the webinar. Any form of audio or video recording is strictly prohibited. For questions, please type them under the Q&A option. Attendees who may have the same question with other attendees may upvote the question by clicking the like button. And for other concerns, please type them under the chat option. So once again, good morning everyone, and welcome to #Bangon Bayanihan Tungo sa Pagbangon, a free online seminar series by DOST Calabarzon. I'm Rona Di Mapilis, and I'll be your moderator this morning. Welcome to #Bangon's Overcoming Compassion and Caution Fatigue During the Pandemic. DOST Calabarzon is back with a new webinar series as part of DOST's Pre-National Science and Technology Week celebration with the theme Agham at Teknolohiya, Sandigan ng Kalusugan, Kabuhayan, Kaayusan, at Kinabukasan. In short, you can expect more Bangon webinars as well as other equally exciting activities in the next few weeks. For the information of everybody, we are done with the first Bangon webinar last October 12, 2020 under the Kalusugan sector with the topic Dengue in the Time of COVID-19. Dengue is one of the emerging health threats during this rainy season aside from COVID. We hope that you were able to learn something from the research of dengue mitigation and local inventions that has great potential in the large-scale dengue outbreak prevention. And speaking more of kalusugan, in this time of serious health alarm, as it is happening in the COVID-19 pandemic, which has profound effects on all aspects of society, including mental and physical health, especially to the frontliners, which include medical and non-medical essential workers. This prolonged isolation, strict health and safety protocols, and increased stress left us feeling tired, less motivated, and less careful. This is also in celebration of the National Mental Health Week, which is celebrated every second week of October by virtue of Presidential Proclamation number 452. In this webinar, we aim to help frontliners in dealing with mental fatigue, particularly compassion and caution fatigue during this pandemic. Just to give you a quick overview, we all know that a clear distinction is often made between mind and body. But when considering mental and physical health, these two should not be thought of as separate. Mental health plays a major role in your ability to maintain good physical health. Reverse, mental health concerns affect your ability to participate in healthy behaviors and to remain physically well. It is important to acknowledge our positive and negative emotions during this time. If not given enough attention, this might have profound effects on one's mental health. So today, our main topic is overcoming compassion and caution fatigue during the pandemic. Our guest speaker for today will discuss this topic with us. He dedicated himself teaching psychotherapy, social and community psychiatry, and administrative psychiatry. He also conducts workshops on mental health, mindfulness, and whole person wellness. He is a faculty member and consultant at the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Medicine at the UPPGH, an assistant head of the Committee on Mental Health Policy, Advocacy, and Development, a public mental health consultant at PhilHealth as content expert for the development of mental health benefit packages. He has several publications and researches which contributed to the field of psychiatry. Friends, let us all welcome Dr. Geoffrey Sebastian E. Kiring.
Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. Thank you very much for the invitation to speak to all of you here. Thanks especially to DOST Calabarzon, and it's my honor and privilege to be presenting this to all of you. So let me dive into the topic. Alam ko may nanonood po sa FB Live and who are joining us in Zoom here. So for those who are on Zoom, feel free to type in the chat box maybe your comments or questions. And I wish that this will be a there will be enough engagement here, and your participation is very much welcome. So my topic that was given to me was overcoming compassion and caution fatigue during the pandemic, and I think Ms. Rana already mentioned why we're actually discussing this topic. And I know that in our audience today, we have a mix of people. So we have different frontliners, both from the medical and non-medical fields, but also maybe other people who are trying to catch this webinar as well, even if maybe technically they're not uh, frontliners themselves, but could relate to the topic. So feel free to um, engage with me here this morning. And here are my learning outcomes, and that hopefully we will be able to see after this presentation. So hopefully the participants here will be able to discuss mental health effects of the pandemic, and I'm sure many of you are very familiar with this, no? Especially being in quarantine for many months now. To recognize compassion and caution fatigue and their manifestations, and lastly, to apply ways to overcome mental fatigue, especially for frontliners. So let me just go through some of the things that you may be very familiar with already. What has been your life recently? What has changed because of the pandemic? In fact, what has become the new normal? Or some people do not really want the term new normal. Maybe the temporary normal, because nothing is normal here according to them. But I think we cannot escape the fact that things have changed, and we will have to confront the current realities. So, what have you experienced? No? Maybe some of you actually got sick or know people who got sick. So, issues of health, maybe even dying, right? Maybe some of you lost here loved ones, and our way of grieving has been really altered by this pandemic. No? Hindi na tayo pwedeng makipagburol, makipaglamay, kasi nga baka mahawaan tayo o makahawa tayo. And so we have been isolated. Many of our people have been inside their houses for many months, and especially the vulnerable population. But even for those who aren't necessarily part of the vulnerable population have been limited in terms of mobility, in terms of movement, right? And so many things are happening inside the house. Halo-halo na. Work from home yung iba. So yung iba doon nag-convert na, 'di ba? But yung iba ay nagtuturo sa mga anak. We are overseeing the homeschooling or distance learning, online learning now of our kids. And unfortunately, though, some of us will really have to continue to go out and work. And that's why we're called frontliners, no? For various reasons, because of our profession or maybe the needs of our family. That's why we need to go out of our houses. No? And we can't deny the fact that there have been many effects on the practical life, practical needs of all of us. So money is an issue. Financial obligations have been rising, have been continuing or even rising, yet probably resources have been depleted or are diminished because of the pandemic. So, kumusta po kayo? Nararanasan nyo ba to? Nakaka-relate ba kayo dito? No? So, for those of us in Zoom, if you can relate to these situations, kindly type yes, no? Or maybe you want to be more specific, alin dito yung talagang nakakaantig sa inyo o nakarelate ako dyan. Ito yung pinaka-concern ko. Yeah, so please keep them coming. We'd like to see, engage here. And there are other things happening in this new normal, especially for our frontliners. So people have to go out still, have to continue to work, like, be exposed even, or be at risk of being exposed because they are doing the tests. They are treating people who have COVID. So your medical frontliners, right? So tuloy ang trabaho. Minsan kahit napapagod, minsan kahit gusto nang sumuko, magpahinga, tuloy pa rin, no? Of course, we also have other kinds of frontliners here. People who keep order. People who also have to go out, like, even our delivery people have to really ply the streets even at this time. Kasi hanap buhay nila yon, and they have to provide for their families. And, we sometimes neglect the fact that we have other kinds of frontliners, like those who clean, whom we rely on for order in society, those who continue to do some kind of office work because it's still required in their companies. So frontliners pa rin sila kasi kailangan pumunta kahit skeletal force na, di ba? And of course, we know people who continue to provide us with our basic needs like food. So our chefs, our cooks, our grocery store clerks, lahat po yan, no? Lahat ng kailangang tumao sa mga tindahan para masiguro na tayo ay may kakainin, merong provisions pa rin. No? Of course, we have people in government who continue to work. And here in DOSD, we rely on DOSD for many things, especially during this pandemic. So their roles are very important. And so they are exposed. You are exposed. And so when we talk about mental health challenges, marami na pong nasabi dito. And we could say a lot about this. But I'd like to quote from our colleagues in social psychiatry. And this is what they said. No? There's a triple global public mental health challenge that we are facing. Campion et al. Mentioned three things. Number one, to prevent an associated increase in mental disorders and a reduction in mental well-being across populations. No? So there is a challenge, and this is, I think, the first challenge. Yung mga walang sakit, pwedeng magkaroon ng sakit. Yung iba ay hindi naman siguro mental disorder agad, pero there will have mental health issues. But we also have the challenge of protecting those with mental disorders from COVID-19 or from the effects of it. Like, dati na pong na-diagnose ng may mental disorder. Dati nang may pinagdadaanan. And they are more vulnerable, or they can be stressed even more or triggered, as our millennials would say. And this pandemic can trigger a lot in a person. And so that's the second challenge. And the third challenge would be to provide appropriate public mental health interventions, especially to health professionals and carers. And so maybe many of our colleagues here or participants here could relate to this because you belong to this population. And so we need to make sure that you're able to continue to do what you need to do for society, even for yourself, no, without necessarily harming you and maybe managing all the risks out there. And so that's a challenge for all of us. And so we recognize that our mental health, in fact, affects everything. And it was mentioned earlier by Ms. Rona here that, we could not totally isolate mental health from the other facets of life. In fact, the WHO would define health as a complete, uh, the definition is a complete well-being, and basically the aspects is not just physical, but also mental, spiritual, social well-being. And so when we look at the effect on mental health issues, there are several. So obvious would be number one, cognitive effects. So some people would have some problems with memory, there are many thoughts also that could be ruminating on our heads. So you could be ruminating on the past, or you could be too anxious about the future. Some would be, clueless, or they would feel that they are in a dilemma because they don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to make of the situation. And so some can be paralyzed. And a fewer number of people would probably even have some issues with reality testing. So meaning they would get out of touch of reality and maybe will have psychosis or maybe disorientation, confusion in a lesser degree. No? So it might be a cause of what we're going through in terms of the mental effects. But we also look at emotional effects. So, there are different emotions. And what emotions have you been able to recognize in you? Some would recognize, and this is the most frequent, would be sadness and worrying. And some people would, make a face or come up with a brave front, but deep inside they're really hurting. And so some people would have some kind of traumatic experience as well, especially during this time, because the pandemic in many ways is some kind of a trauma, or could be very traumatic, especially for those who are seeing people suffering or seeing people dying because of the illness. And this all of this can get to a person. And here, we recognize that the effects of mental health here would not just be really cognitive and affective, but also it will manifest in body sensations or physically that they might have an effect, right? And when we talk about physical, there could be some aches in the body, sumasakit yung kasukasuan, nagpa-check up na kung saan-saan, pero normal naman lahat, no? And it might be because of worrying or even probably an anxiety disorder. Right? Yung iba nawawala ng gana kumain. So there could be decrease in appetite, decreased motivation to move, sleep problems, either oversleeping or insomnia. And these could all possibly be an effect of a mental health issue, in fact, and not necessarily a primary physical problem. So it just manifests in the body. So nakikita lang po yung effect dyan kasi nga nararamdaman ng katawan yan. And lastly, and second to the last, this is behavioral effects. So when we talk about behavioral effects, what has the pandemic done to you, or what have you been doing because of the pandemic? And so some of us started to really be vigilant and to care for ourselves. So we've been buying face masks, face shields, or maybe coming up with our own. We have provided health frontliners with these as well. Diba? Marami mga fundraising efforts, drives in the past, and they were provided with these. And so that's a good thing that has come out of the pandemic. Some people have learned to pick up a hobby, like gardening. Ilan ba sa inyo dito ang mga plantito, plantita? Or other kinds of hobbies like arts and crafts. Some people who have been exercising before or doing some kind of fitness regimen are constrained to now do it inside the house. No? So ito, effect na to. No? And some people have been conscientious but some have not been. And it has been a challenge. So siguro ang tanong ko po sa inyo, kailan ba kayo huling nag-exercise? No, anong huling ginawa ninyo? May sinundan ba kayo sa YouTube? Or do you have your own regimen? And so, you know, what have you been doing as a result of this pandemic? Unfortunately, though, there have been some people who, because of this pandemic, have exhibited maybe not very healthy behaviors, unhealthy behaviors like hoarding, panic buying. No? Sa atin sa Pilipinas, hindi naman marami yung nag-hoard ng mga tissue paper pero alcohol, face mask, no? Mga vitamins, yun nagkaubusan lalo sa simula ng pandemic. Pero ngayon, supply has been steadier, but there have been some behaviors that have been caused because of this pandemic. And so maybe later on, we will be discussing more of this. And lastly, we talk about spiritual effects. The pandemic that we're facing is unprecedented. This is really, an abnormal situation. And so no one is an expert here. We're all trying to figure out how to be able to go about this. And so this has led people to pray more, to rely on the providence and wisdom of the Supreme Being. And some people have picked up several practices, spiritual practices. No, now I know families are praying the rosary more. Of course, we've transferred online also in terms of our spiritual practice. There have been online masses, online church services, online spiritual meditation practices. And so these are happening. But some of us also have been questioning and have, confronted existential questions like, bakit ba nangyayari to? No? Nasaan ang Diyos sa lahat ng ito? And I think those are valid questions. And many of us here are trying to find meaning, are trying to find out why this is happening and what's the purpose behind this. And hopefully we will be able to seek answers there. But sometimes asking all these things, experiencing all these things, it can cause some mental fatigue. This was mentioned already. This term has been mentioned in this the start of this webinar and was intimated because of our title. And so I'd like to share with you a definition by Marcora et al. In 2009, and they define mental fatigue as a biopsychosocial state caused by prolonged periods of demanding cognitive activity and characterized by subjective feelings of tiredness and lack of energy. So, siguro familiar po tayo sa word na fatigue, di ba? Kailan ka ba na-fatigue? Kailan ka ba naka-experience ng fatigue? Pero pag pagod na pagod, physically, you experience that. If you've gone through, a lot of work or you did a sports activity and you really give your all, your body will be tired. Here, the idea is that our minds can be tired by too much cognitive activity. Or maybe because we're thinking too much of something, or we're stressed too much about a particular situation, like this pandemic. And so we could be mentally fatigued with what's happening around us. Well, mental fatigue, though, is not necessarily a disorder, no? And I'll say more about it later on. But this is really very closely related to this phenomenon. Ano po ba ito? Ano ba yung ano kaya itong gusto kong sabihin dito? So, ano ba yung na-experience natin kapag ito nakikita natin? Oh, can we relate to this image? Like some people would say the phrase, para akong nauupos na kandila. Para akong nauubos na. Para akong diba, mapupudpud na. Many different kinds of phrases. But I think what we want to highlight here is the fact that we can actually be experiencing burnout. And very recently, 2019, burnout has been recognized by the WHO as a legitimate occupational phenomenon. And they said that this results from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. A caveat though is that while it is part of the ICD international classification of diseases, it is not necessarily a medical condition. No? Pero kapag burnout po kasi ang pakiramdam dito talagang parang nauubos na. No? So it could be very well related to mental fatigue here. Na tiredness and the feeling of being depleted. And so when the WHO mentioned this, they said that there are 3 dimensions of burnout. And let's do a quick check here. Kumusta po kayo? Do you experience these? Do you have feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion? Do you have increased mental distance from one's job or feeling of negativism or cynicism related to one's job? Yung tipong hindi ka lang pagod, hindi ka lang physically tired, mentally tired, no? That's showing up. Pero parang malayo ka na doon sa trabaho mo. Yung pakiramdam mo na parang detached ka na and ayaw mo nang pumasok. O very negative na yung assessment mo sa work. And you could even resist performing your duties already. And so this would lead to reduced professional efficacy. And so if you're maybe a teacher, diba? Lalabas ito maybe in how you relate to your students. When you're an office worker, maybe it will show up in how you would finish your work and meet deadlines or be able to attend to your deliverables. Baka mas papalya-palya ka na doon. O baka worse, baka nagsisick leave ka na at di ka na talaga pumapasok. For medical frontliners, so, how are you relating to your patients? How are you giving care? Are you still being empathic? Or you're maybe starting to sound rude already? Or maybe you're not being able to give your all already? And maybe decision making is also impaired. So, medyo delikado po yun kapag naka-experience tayo nito. Lalo na doon sa mga helping professions who continue to help people, especially in this difficult time. And so, we would be talking about the 2 terms that we put in our title here, compassion fatigue and caution fatigue. So the American Psychological Association noted this and defined it that compassion fatigue is when you take on the suffering of patients who have experienced extreme stress or trauma. Yeah, that's the definition of compassion fatigue. And it is definitely an occupational hazard of any professionals who use their emotions, their heart. And so while this may really be easily relatable for those who are in the medical field, we also say that they're not the only ones who can experience this. No? So lahat po ng pwedeng mga tumutulong, maybe people who are doing social work, our police force, our army, lahat po, lahat ng nagbibigay din ng tulong sa kapwa, siguro napapagod din sila. Kaya minsan parang hindi na maganda yung inaasal nila o minsan detached na sila because maybe they've reached a point where they really are fatigued. So burnout na. And when we say burnout, confined po yun sa trabaho. And so people would say that compassion fatigue is a special kind of burnout. And kumbaga, this is a different component to it because this really refers to people who are giving care. And you can continue to give care if you are already depleted. Diba? So you cannot give what you do not have. At kung pagod na tayo, minsan po lumalabas ito. Or desensitized na tayo sa suffering, minsan po parang wala na tayong pakialam. And this is why we also probably would get negative feedback from people, or maybe outcomes of care will really suffer. So let's look at the next one. Let me just put this up. Okay, so the next one will be compassion. After compassion fatigue will be caution fatigue. So ano naman po ba yun? May binanggit na kanina related to this. But when we say caution fatigue naman, this is the sense of depletion. So nauubos rin, you're also fatigued. No? There's low motivation or interest and tiredness. This time, this is about taking safety precautions after being desensitized to constant high levels of stress. I think very interesting. Ilan po ba sa inyo dito ang naka-experience ito? No? At simula ng pandemic, talagang ingat na ingat. No? Talagang ilang beses maghugas ng kamay. Talagang hindi makalabas ng bahay na walang face mask, face shield. Pero siguro baka nung maglaon, medyo nag-relax na. Ganito pa rin ba kayo ka-stringent o ka busisi, no? Sa inyong pagsunod sa mga safety protocols? O baka hindi na? Yung iba po parang wala nang pakialam. Sige, labas na tayo. O sige, wala naman yan. O parang magtataka ka kasi parang ang dami namang paliwanag o hindi ba nila naintindihan yun? And this is where cognitive dissonance comes in. Like, alam naman nila dapat at alam naman natin na dapat patuloy tayong mag-iingat, patuloy tayong maghuhugas ng kamay, physical distancing, no? Pero hindi na nangyayari o mas medyo nagre-relax na. And some of this could probably be explained by caution fatigue. The primary proponent for this, Jacqueline Golian, has come up with the term caution fatigue earlier, but now it has really made a lot more sense, especially with what we're seeing in this COVID-19 situation. No? Iba nagrarally pa, walang pakialam na parang okay, parang maraming conspiracy theories pinaniniwalaan. It puts our health, all of us, the public health, at risk. And so we want to understand bakit kaya nangyayari yun. No? And ang paliwanag po nila dito dahil minsan kapag ang taas-taas ng level of stress and there's cortisol that's produced and our bodies reacts in a way that it wants to actually get rid of that and would want to be able to address that stress. And unfortunately, the reaction is that it kind of gives up. No? Parang may sense of depletion, low motivation. Kumbaga, suko na lang kasi napagod na. And maybe we could say it something like that. No? So, but this is a form of fatigue that impact public health. And this is not a very good kind of fatigue, especially at this time. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we need to do something about it. So, ang tanong po natin, anong pwede nating gawin? Anong pwede nating gawin para malabanan ito? Kasi nangyayari ito, hindi natin alam kailan ba matatapos to. Kailan ba natin magagapi itong virus that we don't know. And maybe for a long time, we will have to really put our guards up and we need to continue to care. We need to also be cautious because that's what is needed from all of us during this time. So at this point, before I actually give the recommendations or the tips, I'd like to differentiate a couple of things. Kasi we're talking about mental fatigue, compassion fatigue, caution fatigue. These aren't actually necessarily mental disorders. Hindi po sila categorized as mental disorders. They are a phenomenon that we recognize and we have a term for them. The WHO even recognizes burnout, no? And it could come out as compassion fatigue, as maybe even caution fatigue. But we differentiate a mental disorder. Ano po ang definition ng mental disorder? A mental disorder is a syndrome characterized by clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, way of thinking, emotion regulation, how they manage their emotions, or behavior. Sometimes it could be, unhealthy, or even problematic. So that these three areas would in effect are affected, and it reflects a dysfunction in the different elements of our body. And so may pinanggagalingan po yan. And there's no one cause, because there are several. So first would be psychological, the way our mind works, the way our mind thinks. It will be influenced by our childhood experiences, the way we perceive things, maybe a part of our personality as well, our coping styles. No? But it's also influenced by biological factors. Like kung may sakit po kayo, there are mood problems caused by substances, by medical problems. So lahat po yan inaapektuhan din. And it could be developmental, right? I talked about effects of adverse life experiences, childhood experiences. So maybe there are developmental issues to begin with. At meron pa lang pong problema, but biologically or developmentally, and so they would impact mental functioning. And so we will only call it a mental disorder if the symptoms are long, and it impairs functioning, it impairs relationships, it impairs the capacity to achieve our potential. And kaya po sinasabi natin, normal namang malungkot, normal namang mag-alala, pero kailan ba siya nagiging clinical depression? Kailan siya nagiging anxiety disorder? Ayun po ay kapag talagang apektado ka na at hindi ka na makatrabaho, napaparalisa ka na, at ng mahabang panahon at hindi ka makabangon agad. No? So ibig sabihin baka meron na po talagang mental disorder doon. And so when I give my recommendations here, I'm not necessarily saying this is a way to treat the mental disorders per se. Kasi kung may mental disorder po, kailangan natin gamutin. Baka kailangan ng gamot, baka kailangan ng therapy, no? Pero marami pong paraan para makatulong doon sa mga paraan na 'yon, no? So, and we also do many behavioral, psychological, and emotional techniques so that we can help with healing. Pero ito pong tinatawag nating mental health, hindi po siya ibig sabihin ay mental disorder, no? And this now refers to all of us, whether you feel like you have a disorder or not. Because in fact, mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. At so kung nagagawa niyo po ito ngayon, baka po ibig sabihin wala kayong mental disorder. At ibig rin sabihin, kahit po tingin ninyo na mukhang hindi naman ako apektado ng lubusan, mukhang hindi naman siya disorder, I would say that we can definitely still do something about it, because we cannot escape the effects of the pandemic. So lahat po tayo, kung kahit hindi man yung mental disorder, may mental health issues because of the pandemic. And talking about compassion fatigue, talking about caution fatigue, this can happen, if not yet now, maybe later on, if we're not careful. And so hopefully we can do things to be able to prevent it. And so here are my recommendations. I've recommended 7 ways to overcome compassion and caution fatigue. So these are 7 S's. We'll go through them one by one. First will be self-awareness. Here, I would like to recommend that you recognize your thoughts, emotions, body sensations, behaviors. No? So make sure that you're able to recognize what is a thought. Ano ba yung naisip ko? Ano ba yung naramdaman ko? Oh, do I feel anything in the body? Am I aware of it? No? Masakit na pala yung balakang ko, masakit na pala yung likod ko, kailangan ko na pala ng pahinga. No? And behaviors. No? Is my behavior congruent to what I believe in? Like, kailangan mag-iingat ako. Sandali lang. Bakit labas ako ng labas? Bakit kailangan mag-grocery weekly? Pwede naman ako mag-stock ng pagkain ng mas matagal. Baka pala nagiging bored ka na lang. Nagiging bored ka, kaya gusto mo lumabas weekly, no? Something like that, no? So you want to analyze, sandali lang. Why is my behavior like this? Where is this coming from? And it's good to be able to recognize that. And then helpful in this approach will be to label them. And then let your awareness lead you to help yourself and do problem solving. Because for many people who have a normal capacity to bounce back and to be resilient, no, we can do this. We ought to find solutions to our problems. So second would be solution-focused thinking. So here we focus on finding solutions. You're aware what's happening to you. Hopefully the next step is, okay, I will find a way. No? Let's find a way to address what we can control. Kasi may mga bagay po na hindi natin makontrol. Doon muna tayo sa kaya natin kontrolin. So, look at different perspectives. Baka hindi ko nakikita yung solusyon dito kasi dito ako nakatingin sa isang banda lang. Tingnan ko ang tingnan sa kabilang banda. No? At baka mas makita kong solusyon. Talk to people and maybe you can be helped by doing that. Discover what is working well and do more of it. No? And marami po sa atin, alam naman kung paano tayo matutulungan ngayon kahit ngayong pandemic. Kasi may kakayahan po tayo at we have been coping already, especially now. It's already October and we've started this March, yung quarantine, etc. And so you might have found a way that works for you. And so in many ways, we can say that you are the expert in your own, in yourself and in your own way of doing things. No? So we also want to recognize that. Maybe there are things that we can improve, definitely. Pero meron po siguro kayo diyang ginagawang tama rin. At magandang madiscover natin yan. Focus on what you have rather than what you lack. And think of creative ways to be able to find solutions. And part of this is maybe coming up with a routine. Like, bakit hindi ako makatulog sa gabi? Marami pong nagtatanong nito, no? Doc, hindi ako makatulog. Ano ba to? May depression na ba ako? May anxiety na ba ako? After an evaluation, I would say, okay, sandali lang, tingnan natin, ano bang ginagawa mo? Yung iba walang maayos na pattern of sleeping. Sleep hygiene is a basic requirement. And so part of sleep hygiene is making sure na hindi ka naiinom ng kape sa gabi o ng tsaa o ng tsokolate kasi baka hindi ka makatulog, no? Not doing a heavy workout late in the at night or even late afternoon kasi baka hindi ka makatulog. So, ano pa yung dapat gawin? Dapat fix ang time ng pagtulog at paggising. And maybe it would be helpful to close the lights and take a shower o maligo muna bago matulog kasi nakaka-relax din yon. Maybe some people will benefit from soothing music. No? So, finding ways. Ano kayang nag-work? Ano kayang hindi nag-work dito? Ano yung pwede natin gawin? No? And so, find solutions because maybe it's not necessarily a mental disorder immediately, and maybe there's a solution just in front of you. So next would be soothing your senses. Here we recognize that there are things that we can't control, right? Sabi natin kung pwede mong gawan ng paraan, gawan mo ng paraan. Pero may mga bagay na hindi mo makontrol. So let go of those things. No? Later on, I'll say more of it. But part of maybe attempting to be able to help you gain focus or ground yourself, especially when you realize, I can control everything or susuko na ako, pagod na ako. This is very important. Pause. Take a break. All of us will get tired, no? Lalo na kahit po tingin nyo, mabait naman ako tao, natural sa akin tumulong sa kapwa. Nakakapagod din po yun kapag tuloy-tuloy at hindi kayo nagpapahinga. Make sure that you're also soothing your senses. No? So find ways to calm and relax yourself. Your tired mind, your tired body, make sure you replenish it. And so when we say soothing your senses, importante po dito na malaman, paano ba ako marirelax? At ano ba yung pwede kong gawin para matugunan yung pangangailangan ng aking 5 senses, no? So sense of sight, like ngayon po maraming Zoom meetings, no? Zoom fatigue. Make sure that you take care of your eyes. Close your eyes, take enough sleep. Look at something that's refreshing, look at nature, kung mayroon kayong pwedeng tingnan dyan sa labas ng bahay ninyo, ng opisina. And so do that, no? Nourish your sense of hearing. Listen to good music. Wag yung maingay, no? Maybe even take moments of silence And when you eat your food, smell it first. And huwag nyo kainin ng mabilis. No? Namnamin nyo. Do mindful eating. Nourish your sense of smell and the sense of taste. And then, after a hard day at work, get a good massage. Whether that is a foot massage, back massage, o full body massage, kung meron kayong kasama sa bahay na pwedeng magbigay sa inyo niyan, napakaganda po niyan. No? Soothe your senses. No? Allow yourself to be relaxed. And important po dito would be, again, enough sleep, regular exercise, proper diet. And these are things that we've been emphasizing. And hopefully we do not neglect them because all of these impact our mood. When our mood is down, when our mental health is affected, it can show up in compassion fatigue, in caution fatigue. And so we want to nourish ourselves and make sure that we are in good shape. Next would be social support. When you're so tired, when you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world, Diyan po tayo napupush mapunta sa compassion fatigue or maybe even mental disorders, no? And so it's good to be able to talk about our emotions to people. Do not isolate yourself. Connect with people. Connect to your colleagues, no? Yung mga nasa medical profession, we encourage you to talk to a trusted colleague. We do have many efforts nowadays, to give psychosocial support as well to frontliners, to medical doctors. And so hopefully you can avail of these initiatives. So open up about your thoughts and feelings. Minsan mahirap talagang gamutin ang mga doktor, sabi nga nila, di ba? Mahirap pag-open up o minsan dinadiagnose pa ang sarili. And I understand that. I'm also a medical doctor and there are some truths to that, but I think that this is the time wherein we really need to resist that. If you feel like you need to talk to a colleague, please go. Hindi naman ibig sabihin disorder agad yan. Maybe you just need to vent out. Maybe you just need to have someone to validate you na alam mo ako rin nararamdaman ko yan. Alam mo nahihirapan din ako. Lalo na po yung ibang mga frontliners natin ngayon. Kailangan mag-travel. Yung mga iba, kailangan mag-commute, magbisikleta, o maglakad ng malayo. At, may find other ways, other means to be able to go to their workplaces. So, hindi po madali ito. At maganda may kasama tayo at meron tayong katulong dito po sa biyaheng ito. No? And next one will be service to others. It's important to be able to find a way to help others because it allows us to see beyond our own misery. It allows us to see beyond our difficulties. And the focus now will be on others. Even if you feel like you are not healed yet fully, or you also need help, well, get help, but also continue to help. No? And some of our medical frontliners would probably need to take a leave for a while. Pahinga muna kayo. Okay lang yan. Pero at some point, babalik kayo at magtatrabaho kayo. So, tuloy natin yan. At just make sure that you are getting the help that you need. But even for those who are in a different field, who are frontliners, diba? You continue to serve. That's your service. And so you continue to do that. No? But we're also looking at ways to be able to help others outside of our work. Like, how can you help your family? How can you help your relatives, your colleagues? Start small. Ngayon, lalo na mahirap po ang buhay, baka wala tayo masyadong maibigay na pera, pero ano ba pwede nating ibigay? We appreciated the many efforts during this pandemic that really uplifted the spirits of our medical frontliners. No? Yung mga cards, yung mga PPE, yung mga pagkain na pinadala nyo po sa mga hospital, sa mga institutions, napakalaking blessing for many of us. And so, we may be able to find something like that as well. And even for us medical frontliners, we could also think of ways to be able to continue to serve others. No? And maybe one reminder here, last reminder in this part, is just do it. Minsan kapag fatigue na po tayo, parang ayaw mo na, di ba? Suko na. I don't like anymore. Yeah, we recognize that. But, sometimes motivation and emotion can follow action. So do it anyway. Even for people who have clinical depression or major depressive disorder, that's something we recognize. And we recommend to them, no, continue to do something for others. So, do something good, no? Not just for yourself, but for others. O continue to exercise, no? Kahit walang motivation, sige, o gawin natin magkakasama. You also encourage one another. That's also service. So, tuloy lang. Okay, next here would be spirituality and finding meaning. Even if it may be difficult, seek meaning in what you are going through. Naniniwala po tayo na we can find meaning in different situations, even difficult situations. The pioneer of logotherapy, Viktor Frankl, authored the book Man's Search for Meaning. And he was a psychiatrist who was incarcerated in the concentration camps during World War II. At ang sabi niya dito importante yung spirituality. Importante na makita mo ano ba yung kabuluhan nito para sa akin. Siguro yung iba po sa atin bumabiyahe pa papunta doon. Malayo pa. Pero yung iba sa atin siguro marami nang na-realize. Like, I realize what are essentials in my life. And I value my family now more than ever. Ngayon, mas talagang kapag umuwi ako sa bahay, talagang yayakapin ko sila, pasasalamatan ko sila kasi nakita ko na yung maiksi ang buhay. At dahil frontliner ako, baka may mangyari. Yung ganun po, no? So may mga ganung realizations that I often hear from frontliners. And so this is something that we want to nourish and anchor ourselves in. So anchor yourself in your faith, in your values. Some people do this by doing a daily gratitude exercise. Before sleeping, they look at their day and say, okay, what am I thankful for? What's a good thing that I experienced? They also ask, what have I learned today? No? It's part of maybe finding meaning. And what have I done to help others? That's also a way to be able to foster this area. And so anchor yourself in these things. And if you do it regularly, you'll see that something will change in you. And so we recognize that there are many forms of spirituality, religion, and so you may have to find your own. And so for those who are already doing it, continue to do it. I know some Catholics who are doing daily rosary with their families. And you know what? Praying the rosary together is a form of giving social support, but it's also a way to calm yourselves. If you mindfully focus on the different beads, on the different mysteries, saying the prayers not hurriedly, but really meaning every word of it, it can be very powerful. No? Hindi lang because it will give you a spiritual benefit, it will also give you physiological benefits. So lastly, I'd like to say something about self-compassion. Many of us here are really helping a lot of people directly. Maybe some are on the back end, like they go to work, but they're more of office, on office duty. So it doesn't matter, but I think self-compassion is an issue for many people, and especially for Filipinos. No? Sometimes we give and give and give and give, and para sa kapwa, para sa pamilya. Pero ang tanong po, paano naman ang para sa sarili? We do not preach selfishness here. Iba po yun. So, but when you take care of yourself, when you be kind to yourself, I think it puts you in a better position to even be more kinder to other people. And so part of it is being less critical of yourself. No, don't judge. Ito yung naiisip ko, ito nararamdaman ko. Very famous yung phrase nowadays. It's okay not to be okay. Sometimes. No? So be okay with that too. Be at peace with that. That there will be days that you're not in your best shape, but okay lang yun. Pick yourself up. Learn to be kind to yourself as you are to others. And this is what I was saying, be mindful of difficult thoughts and emotions, but do not over-identify with them. Kasi yun naman po ang hindi maganda. No? So, but we want to discover that we share common humanity with other people. Kristin Neff was a pioneer author and researcher on this topic, has had many very good insights on self-compassion, and I'm borrowing most of what I'm saying here from her. And so this is really something that hopefully we could do, no? Especially for us frontliners here. And so, to recap, 7 ways to overcome compassion and caution fatigue would be through the following S's. Sana po masundan nyo ito, no? Maalala nyo. S, self-awareness. First. Second would be solution-focused thinking. Third would be soothing your senses. Next would be social support. Next one would be service to others. Next will be spirituality and finding meaning. And lastly, self-compassion. And I believe that if we follow these, we'll be able to manage our concerns, our stressors, that will prevent, hopefully, mental disorders from happening. And also, here, compassion and caution fatigue. So we can go back to doing what is right, what is needed at this time, for not just for ourselves, but more so for others. And I think we have a very good opportunity here to help ourselves. And hanga po ako sa inyong lahat. No? Hindi po madali ang inyong ginagawa. Kami po ngayon na mga psychiatrists, marami sa amin ay nasa back end ngayon, where we're doing some kind of work for the frontliners, but most of us are doing it from our homes, from our offices. And so we're not out there most of the time. And so this is our way also of trying to help you and support you, because you are putting yourself at risk there. But we do appreciate your effort, and we thank you. At sana po tuloy-tuloy naming matulungan din kayo, dahil po napakahalaga ng inyong papel, no? Para sa ating mga kababayan, para sa ating bayan. So with that, I'd like to thank you all, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joff. And the floor is now open for your questions. Reminder, participants, please don't forget to indicate your name followed by your question. For our Facebook attendees, you may head on to the comment section of the Facebook Live and type in your query. Okay, so check ko lang po, sir. We have a question here from Sir Jess Peralta. Would like to ask if Doc Kiring could provide us with a non-technical webinar for our operators and technicians. Could I request a proposal? Sir, I will send his email address na lang po sa inyo. His request po ay regarding sa topic din po ng mental health for operators and technicians.
Sure po. So let me know how I'll be able to help. So pwede po natin gawin yun.
Okay po. Thank you, Doc Joff. So another question po, when is the time when one needs to seek professional help?
Thank you po. Well, maraming klase kasi yung professional help, right? And so right now, hindi lang po psychiatrists, no? We have psychologists, we have guidance counselors, and so you would probably say that there are varying levels of care out there, no? At lahat po ito mahalaga, especially during this time. Sa aking pong pananaw, kung tingin niyo po kayo po ay talagang hindi sigurado, go ahead and talk to someone. Wala pong masama doon. An indicator though would be, sinasabi ko po kanina, talagang napaparalisa na kayo, no? So if functioning is impaired, and what does functioning mean? Either your work is affected, so if your level of output probably has been this and now it has really gone down, or you've been getting feedback already, or like for example for medical frontliners, you're getting feedback already from patients, from your colleagues, uy, parang ang sungit-sungit mo ngayon, ako, nagreklamo yung pasyente, yung ganyan, o takot na sa'yo yung mga tao kasi yung may anger issues ka na lumalabas, at palagi na ito nangyayari. So that's the second aspect of it, is the time, and if it's consistent, no? So I think kailangan na pong magpatingin. Pero hindi lang ito about all, sometimes hindi lang po ito all about functioning at work, because sometimes it shows up in other areas. Like, okay naman sa trabaho, they're managing kasi kailangan magaling sila doon at nagagawa pa rin nila yung kanilang kailangan gawin. Pero pagdating sa bahay, hindi na kinakausap yung pamilya, nagkukulong na lang. And especially if there are danger signs, like thoughts of hurting oneself, yung suko na, ayoko na, tapusin na natin to. No? Pag may mga ganung thoughts po at palagi na silang dumadating, or thoughts of hurting others, like, ano kaya kung saktan ko na tong taong ito, ganun, or hindi ko na lang gawin ng maayos at baka mapahamak yung tao. Sometimes there could be a deliberate thought. Medyo delikado na po yun. And I think those are the times that you already need to really seek professional help. And siguro lastly, for those who have had a mental disorder already, a diagnosed mental disorder, so if you feel like, parang bumabalik na yung aking mga symptoms, no? It might be a good idea to seek professional help already so that we could evaluate it and maybe give you the appropriate treatment while it's not yet severe.
Okay. Thank you, Doc Joff. In relation pa rin po sa ating question about seeking professional help, paano po kung ang naghihinder daw po is yung financial aspect? Ano daw po yung pwedeng gawin? From Miss Nicole Von Victoria po.
That's right. So, we recognize that right now. Totoo po yan, mahirap talaga kung ang pera po ang pinag-uusapan at kung ang kailangan po tugunan muna ang mga basic na pangangailangan. So, ang aking pong ipapayo doon let's look for solutions first, no? So solution-focused thinking, like ano ba problema natin ngayon? So kung pera po ang problema, paano kaya tayo makakakuha niyan? Of course, mahirap mag-generalize kasi iba-iba pong sitwasyon natin sa buhay at yung iba may kaya, yung iba pwedeng maghanap ng paraan, yung iba mas talagang hirap po sila. At dito papasok po talagang siguro kung hirap na hirap po huwag pong mahiyang humingi ng tulong. Lumapit po sa mga pwedeng hinga ng tulong. Pero ang priority po dito sa tingin ko maghanap ng solusyon. Kasi again, sabi nga po sa isang article po na aking nabasa about self-care, our self-care can only go so much, no, if we're not addressing the basic needs of people. So, kung kahit mag-meditation ka, kung talagang wala kang kinakain at gutom ka, I think yun po ang una nating dapat hanapan ng solusyon. And so we don't want to also pathologize. Ibig sabihin talagang sabihin mo disorder agad yan. Hindi naman po agad Minsan kapag nasa-stress po tayo dahil sa mga problema ngayon at pag nahanapan natin ng solusyon yung problema ngayon, baka naman po mas gumaan ng pakiramdam natin o yung mga naiisip natin hindi na rin po maging masyadong negative. So hopefully that's something that we can do. And there are also options already that are mental health support that are free, that are given for minimal fee. So pwede rin pong makahingi ng tulong, yung mga tingin nila kailangan nila ng tulong pero wala rin silang pera para humingi ng tulong. Meron na rin po mga ganun po mga resources available. Siguro top po dyan yung ating pong DOH, National Center for Mental Health. They have a crisis line. At meron pa pong ibang crisis line available in the country. Pwede po nating makita yan sa internet. Pwede nyo pong tingnan kung kailangan po ng tulong doon.
Okay po. Thank you, Doc Joff. I hope na-answer po yung question natin related to financial aspect and other modes to avail consultation po related to mental health. So, next question po. Sir, is it advisable to post your emotions on social media accounts to relieve the hurts and feelings?
Good question po, no? Kasi marami pong nagtatanong rin ito sa akin ngayon. So, let me answer that with a long statement here. Number one, kung ano man pong i-post natin sa social media ay definitely makikita po ng ibang tao at nandyan na yan. No? Pag na-screenshot yan, forever na yan dyan. Unless nagpo-post ka lang para sa sarili mo. Meron pong ganun kasi, meron din po kasing ganun. Ano? Pero kung ito ay public post or to your friends, talaga pong makikita ng iba yan. So siguro po, ang magandang tanungin, okay lang bang mabasa ito ng mga kaibigan ko? Ano kaya ang may isip nila? Ano kaya ang epekto sa kanila? At ano magiging epekto nito sa akin in the long run? Kasi minsan po pag tayo ay galit, kapag tayo ay malungkot, tayo may nakakaisip ng mga negative thoughts, naghahanap tayo ng outlet. Tama po, di ba? At maganda na ilabas natin yon. Pero ang advice ko po, sana mailabas natin ito sa isang tao directly. No? If you can talk to a person with you on site, face to face. O kung hindi man, tawagan nyo yung kaibigan nyo o yung trusted na friend or relative at pwede rin yung face to face through Zoom, no? Virtual nga lang. At mas maganda siguro doon ka magbuhos ng sama ng loob mo at hindi sa social media. Kasi marami pong dangers ang pagpo-post sa social media. Bagamat na-achieve niya yung purpose na nailalabas mo, yung sama ng loob. So, maganda yon pero hindi rin siya maganda sa isang banda kasi nga, pwede pong ikapahamak nyo yun. Ano pong magiging epekto nun sa trabaho nyo? Ano magiging epekto nun sa pamilya nyo? No? Lalo na po, halimbawa, kapag nag-post kayo ng mga nakakatakot or sobrang negative na thoughts, yung effect din po nito sa ibang tao pwede maging traumatic. No? Or kapag nag-post po kayo ng halimbawa po may ina-identify kayong ibang tao at may nilalaglag kayong ibang tao, halimbawa, no, you're calling out that person, baka magka-problema din po tayo doon legally, no? Or baka po magkaroon din ng problema po in terms of ano po yung in the area of cyberbullying, no? Kasi po sabihin nila either kayo nang bubuli o maging subject ito ng pangbubuli din sa inyo. Kasi may pinost po kayo doon na baka pwedeng gamitin against you. So, marami pong pros and cons. So, ang aking payo po ay kung ang ideal, sana po idiretso nyo po sa isang taong makakausap nyo rather than just post it in social media na parang for everyone to see. So, baka po kasi yun nga po, may ibang effects po ito na hindi maganda.
Thank you po. Another question, sir. Ito, very common experience po for those who are working po sa bahay nila. So, kalimitan, hindi na nabibigyan ng kumbaga overtime na po lagi yung nare-render nilang service since nahihirapan po, challenge talaga yung balancing and setting boundaries with work and rest. So, how can one protect one's mental health while working from home?
Okay po. So, this is a phenomenon that many of us are seeing now. So, importante po dito na merong routine kayong i-establish. So, part of the routine will be schedule. No? Anong oras ka ba talaga dapat magtatrabaho? Kasi dati, aalis ka ng bahay, 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or maybe earlier. Tapos mababiyahe ka dating sa trabaho 8 to 5. 5 labas ka, biyahe ka, dating ka ng bahay 6 or 7, no? So meron kang pagitan doon na you're out of the house, you're preparing to go to work, and then you're out of work preparing to go to the house. Ngayon po, nabablur na 'yon kasi isang kwarto lang yung pagitan mo sa iyong pamilya at pwedeng hindi ka pa tapos sa trabaho, may kumakatok na or hindi ka pa nakapag-distress o hindi ka pa nakapag, 'di ba, hindi niyo pa na-recollect yung isip niyo, pupunta ka na ba dun sa labas at kakausapin mo yung pamilya mo, baka po talagang challenging yun. No? So, part of it is trying to come up with a schedule at home. Like, okay, magtatrabaho ako ganito, ganitong oras, so huwag niyo akong istorbohin. Sana po, part din dito, merong lugar na kung saan kayo magtatrabaho, kung separate room ba yan or corner of the house na alam ng mga tao na hindi ka pwedeng gambalain, no? And then part of the schedule hopefully na gagawin po ninyo merong space para makapag ano naman kayo, adjust, no? Yung segue from work to uh, to other domestic issues. So, ito pong ginagawa ko kasi po ako meron akong sariling kwarto na pinagtatrabahuan. Bago ako lumabas ng bahay, magre-relax muna ako ng saglit. Hindi na ganun kahaba, no? Pero breathing exercise muna ako or titingnan ko muna yung mga gusto kong tingnan sa internet for a while to relax myself or to calm myself down o manunood ako ng mga maiksing mga videos and then I'll go out and then I'm ready to face my family, no? Of course, may mga exceptions diyan pero kadalasan nakakatulong na may ganung pattern. And importante po dito na alam din ng pamilya nyo. So you communicate so that you will have leveling of expectations, no? So routine, then so schedule and the place. And sana po yung trabaho parang tulad na rin ng dati. Kung nag-end na yung trabaho 5 o'clock noon, sana po maging strict din tayo dito. Kung pwede, no? Depende sa trabaho nyo eh. Kasi yung iba naman ngayon, dahil nga wala ng boundary, okay, check ng check at check ng mga emails or trabaho ng trabaho kahit gabi na at naapektuhan na definitely yung pamilya din. So, try to find a balance there. Wala pong parang blanket recommendation dyan kasi iba-iba po ang ating sitwasyon at mga responsibilidad. Pero siguro po yung principles na binanggit ko, baka makatulong po yun.
Thank you po. Bali, ito po, isang common issue po ngayon, lalo na sa social media. Maraming students yung affected po because of yung hindi sila nakapag-comply dun sa requirements, nagko-commit sila ng suicide. Bakit nga daw po ba umaabot din sa ganong point na naiisip nila yung meron silang mga suicidal thoughts or meron talagang nakikreate na suicidal plan sa kanila? And another question, sir, is ano daw po yung difference between self-harm and being suicidal?
Thank you po. So simulan ko dun sa huling tanong. Yung ibig po sabihin ng self-harm ay mas malawak. So may iba po sinasaktan po ang sarili nila pero hindi ibig sabihin na gusto nila magpakamatay. No? So meron pong iba ang kailangan nilang gawin yon kasi nga meron silang hindi mailabas na emosyon at nare-relieve sila kapag may ginagawa po sila sa kanilang katawan. So, ang iba po may iba-ibang paraan 'yan pero basta sinasaktan po nila ang kanilang sarili pero clearly hindi naman nila gustong mamatay. Well, the other kind po is ito pong suicidal ideation. Ibig sabihin naiisip nyo na mag-suicide, magpakamatay talaga at gagawin nyo sa sarili 'yon. At yung iba ay may thoughts lang, pero yung iba ay talagang may plano na gawin at maybe ginawa na nga nila noon. So, yun po ang difference nun. Meron pong mga iba kasi talagang nakakaisip ng ganitong mga thoughts at karamihan po nito ay parte ng mental health issues, no? A bigger mental health issue. Rare po na naiisip lang nila na walang dahilan. Parang palagi pong merong dahilan yun. At ito po ay maaring dahil din sa mental disorder nga. No? Baka po may clinical depression or baka may anxiety issues kaya they're overwhelmed by the anxiety. They want to get rid of it. They want to get rid of their life. Parang minsan may mga ganun po. No? Meron pong iba, may mga traumatic experiences. No? Because of the trauma, they want to also end their life. At ang dapat pong gawin doon solusyonan natin yung mental disorder. So, get an evaluation, give them treatment so that these ways of thinking will be addressed. No? Yung iba po bata pa lang may mga ganong naiisip na sila at marami pong factors dito whether they had childhood experiences that were traumatic nga po o baka naman iba may mga biological considerations like some people would have mental disorders that were caused by a medical problem at it can also cause some of these negative thinking. Baka po yung iba ay meron ding psychosis o minsan sabi nila may boses kasi na umuutos sa akin na patayin ko na sarili ko. So, ibang-iba rin pong issue yon. So kailangan nating tanggalin yung boses na gumugol sa kanya. No? So kailangan pong bigyan ng pansin agad yan kapag may mga ganon. Huwag po nating babaliwalain o isasantabi. Kapag may nagbanggit po noon na gusto mag-suicide, tanungin niyo po ano ba yung naiisip mo. At huwag niyo po agad kukontrahin. Kasi pag kinontra niyo na, uy, masama yan, uy, bawal yan. Kapag sinabi po natin agad yon, baka lalong hindi sila magkwento. At baka lalong hindi natin sila mababantayan. So, and then offer professional help. Gusto mo bang makipag-usap sa isang counselor, psychologist, o psychiatrist para matingnan natin kung paano ka matutulungan? Baka po malaking tulong yun para sa kanila.
Thank you po, Doc Job. So another question related din naman po doon. So when do doctors give medical prescription? Example po yung meds to be taken by patient to ease fatigue.
Yes, kami po mga psychiatrists ay medical doctors at kami po ay pwede mag-prescribe ng gamot, no? Pero hindi naman po lahat ng tao na nagpapatingin sa amin ay binibigyan namin ng gamot. Kasi may mga iba pong mga pasyente o mga taong nagpapatingin at kumukonsulta hindi naman talaga may mental disorder. May iba ay may mental health issue at ang kailangan nila ay siguro po ay konting tulong, no, some psychosocial support, or baka nag-a-adjust lang kasi yung mga pasyente, yung mga tao sa sitwasyon at normal reaction lang ito sa sa abnormal situation that we are in. And so we may need to just advise them, reassure them. Yung iba po ay mas dumadaan sa formal psychological therapy. Ito yung mga therapy sessions. At marami pong mga psychiatrists ang gumagawa na rin yan ngayon na hindi naman nagbibigay ng gamot pero pwedeng bigyan po ng psychotherapy. At marami pong ibang gumagawa nito lalo na pong ating mga psychologists, no? So clinical psychologists. So pwede po nilang gawin yon at nakakatulong po yon. Lalo na po siguro kapag yung kaso ay sabihin natin ay mild to moderate, no? Pero kapag severe na po, kami po mga psychiatrists at ako po sa aking practice, kapag severe na po yung kaso, ako po ay nagre-recommend o nire-recommend ako na mainam po bigyan na ng gamot ang isang tao na nakararanas ng isang klarong mental disorder. Kasi po merong biological components yung sakit na ito. Again, mental disorders are disorders, so that there something is not in order, and these are medical conditions, no? So meron po tayong ma-identify na mga chemicals in the brain, mga circuits in the brain that are affected, and so our medications may have some usefulness, no? Lalo na po sa mga ibang kondisyon, lalo na nararamdaman talaga po sa katawan. So for those who can't sleep after doing everything, for example, nag-sleep hygiene na lahat, hindi pa rin makatulog, baka po makakatulong ang ilang mga gamot na binibigay namin. Or yung iba, sobra talagang anxious, sobrang depressed na talaga, kahit ano pong psychotherapy or pag-uusap ang gawin, talagang hindi na natin magawa ng solusyon, baka time na po na bigyan talaga ng gamot. And some people opt to do it together at the same time, yung psychotherapy at saka gamot, no? Sa simula pa lang. Pwede rin po yun gawin.
Thank you po. So another question po. We want to check everyone's mental health amidst the pandemic here in our office. Are there tests available for assessment, example anxiety, or will there be psychologists available to interview or assess people from our office?
Hindi ko po sigurado kung ako ang sasagot. Tama po ba akong sasagot nun? Kasi po, ibig po sabihin yata no, na meron po bang mag-screen?
Sino po yung appropriate person to assess din po yung kanilang siguro po yung kanilang employees kasi po ay yung isang question po niya if needed po ba na may psychologist needed then sa
Okay. So kasi po yung again, kung meron pong mga ganitong kaso, we understand that kailangan pong sana mabigyan ng matugunan ito even in the workplace, no? At importante sana pong effort. In fact, in the mental health law, there's a push for this. No? It's mandated already that we attend to mental health issues. That's why we have these webinars and hopefully mental health services. No? Pero kanya-kanya po kasi yan sa ngayon no na yung approach no in the company. So some companies would have a healthcare provider or an HMO and some of them would cover mental health services as well. So baka pwede tayo magtanong, baka meron yung kumpanya. Hindi ko alam kung nasasagot ko yung tanong pero yung pagkaintindi ko kasi sila mismo, yung nagtanong mismo, kailangan niya ng tulong o paano sila makaka-avail. So baka kung sa kumpanya merong ganun, pwede po tayo magtanong. Ngayon kung wala po, mainam po na tumingin po sa ibang resources. Sabi ko po may mga facilities like the DOH, ito National Center for Mental Health, meron pong telemental health consultations doon. Meron din po ang PGH Psychiatry Department, although ito po ay limited dahil nga sa COVID center po ang PGH. Pero meron pong registration process at may scheduling at kung kailangan pong magpakonsulta, pwede pong gawin doon. Ano? Alam ko meron pa pong ibang mga facilities like the Philippine Mental Health Association. No? It's an NGO. They have many services at this time. So pwede po ninyong tingnan ito, ang mga resources na to. May mga website po sila. Meron po mga tests kasi iba-iba po ang ginagawa. Pero sa amin pong psychiatrist, we usually do a clinical evaluation. So wala pong laboratorio yan. As in, pakikipag-usap, ano po yung kwento. We will evaluate it based on your symptoms. No? Psychologists do that and combine it with some psychometric tests as well. No? So baka may mga pen and paper test na pinapagawa at may iba pang tests. Some psychiatrists would also require that, and so baka po nagpatingin kayo psychiatrist tapos i-request niya na magpatingin sa psychologist para makakuha ng ganung test. Pwede rin po yun. No? So depende po sa kaso, depende po sa sitwasyon din. And admittedly, may mga limitations kasi tayo in terms of the availability of all these tests right now. Lalo na ngayon kung online, medyo challenging yan. So kailangan, hindi po ako sigurado kung ilan po ang gumagawa nito na talagang patuloy pa rin face-to-face. No? Although alam ko po may mga ibang meron pero hindi ko alam kung gaano karami po yan. Pero pwede po kayong magsimulang magtanong doon sa mga nabanggit ko sa PGH, sa NCMH at saka sa PMHA.
Thank you po, Doc. Another question po, sa PhilHealth packages po, included na rin po yung mental health po doon?
Currently po, meron pong limited benefits ang nakukuha for mental health sa mga admissions. No? Ito po yung status ko. No? Pero meron po kaming ginagawang mga pag-aaral at proposal at ang plano po ay palawakin ito. Which should include hopefully hindi lang yung inpatient at sana mas mahaba yung duration ng coverage pero pati sana po yung outpatient services at saka whether gamot yan or psychotherapy sana po makover. Pero nasa stage pa po ito ng pag-aaral at recommendatory stage pa lang. So hindi pa po final yung look nito. At dahil po yung meron universal healthcare law na tayong ipinasa, so in parallel po ito no na ginagawa. Definitely ang hope po ay kapag may mental health issue ka, kahit nasaan ka man, somehow may mako-cover po doon. Siguro ang tanong lang dyan kung gaano karami, ilan ba yan, ano eksakto yung mako-cover. No? Pero definitely po palalawakin yan at dahil yan po ang mandate ng mental health law and by next year, kailangan po meron ng mga initial concrete packages kumbaga po no, for this. So please stand by kasi ipapublish naman po yan. Pero ngayon, sa ngayon po hindi pa po ito nasa public.
Thank you po, Doc. So, marami po sa participants natin nagtatanong kung pwede pong humingi ng copy ng inyong presentation kasi very informative daw po ang inyong share for today.
We'll talk to Noel and sa DOST Calabarzon about that.
Okay po, sir. Another pong question. So, na-mention nyo po kanina, sir, yung mga meron na talagang existing mental health disorder. Sila yung vulnerable ulit na, let's say, gumaling na sila and vulnerable ulit sila. Are there measures daw po kung paano po yung probability? What is the probability that you will suffer from it again? Or what is the measure that you actually heal from it again? So, parang ang question po dito, Doc, ay bumalik po yon yung probable na pagbalik ng mental disorder na meron siya or currently present na.
Yeah. Thank you. Siguro dapat malaman muna natin na iba-iba kasi ang mga mental disorders, no? So, iba't ibang klase yan. Iba't iba rin yung kanilang characteristics, tsaka yung kanilang prognosis o yung anong kung aasahan natin in the future, no? In terms of treatment, after getting treatment or in terms of recovery. So, hindi po ako makapagbigay ng blanket statement dyan. Pero ang gusto ko lang pong linawin ay may mga iba pong mental health issues or diagnosis na in fact kapag ginamot natin maaaring hindi na sila bumalik, no? Parang one time, one episode pwede pong maging okay na, no? Whether we treat it with therapy or with medications, pwede pong ganun. Pero may mga sakit na talagang alam din natin na panghabang buhay o pangmatagalan. May mga ganun pong sakit, lalo po halimbawa ang schizophrenia, yung nawala po sa pag-iisip at apektado po yung pag-iisip, apektado po ang pati yung self-care, affected din po ang relationships, no? So meron pong problema po sa pag-iisip ng ganun na talagang mas ano po siya, long-term ang effect. Pero hindi po ibig sabihin na wala tayong pwedeng gawin. In fact, marami pong pag-aaral ngayon at marami tayong treatments na nakakatulong para makabalik sila sa to a higher level o higher degree of functioning. At pwede silang magtrabaho, pwede silang patuloy na makipagrelasyon sa kapwa, na makisalamuha, no? So pwede 'yon. Pwede pa rin yun kahit na meron silang gamot na iniinom. At maaaring yung gamot pang matagalan nga at maaaring panghabang buhay. Pero hindi ibig sabihin kailangang malimitahan sila. At meron din namang mga kondisyon na sabi ko nga maaaring in the first episode naging okay siya pero maaaring lumabas ulit. Like there are some people who were diagnosed with depression who would have another recurrence later on in their life. At maaari pong mangyari ngayon. We don't have the figures here, pero may probability po 'yon. Pero pag tinanong kasi natin, ilan ba? Depende po Depende sa kung ano yung ginawa mo para matulungan siya doon sa first episode. Depende rin ito sa resources available. And when we talk about resources, hindi po lang ito financial, more so emotional, psychosocial resources available. Kasi yung iba po kapag natulungan sila at alam na nila yung kanilang gagawin, mas mababa na ang tsansa na sila po ay magkakaroon ng isa pang episode. Or kung magkaroon man, dahil alam na nila paano i-handle yon, it will be, maybe lesser or in severity or maybe shorter in duration. So may mga ganun pong tayong tinitingnan.
So, next question po. How can we assist mental health professionals who are suffering from compassion fatigue? From Miss Mary Lenos.
Yes, thank you po sa tanong na yan. And my recommendations of the 7 S's, no, sana po makatulong yun. Kasi we recognize that people who have compassion fatigue would really need to take a break. So they would need to take a break, pause. Diba? Part of it is self-awareness. So number one, kailangan you recognize that it's happening. Okay, ano ba to? Compassion fatigue na ba to? Bakit ganito na ako makitungo sa kapwa, sa pasyente ko? So maybe you need to find solution for it. Part of the solution is maybe talking to someone else. No? So I'll talk to a colleague or maybe get professional help. Ngayon po marami na pong interventions on that. And in fact, meron po mga ginawa yung aking mga kasama po sa Philippine Psychiatric Association, mga colleagues po ito na meron po silang program on mindfulness self-compassion for frontliners, particularly medical frontliners. No? They've been running it for several sessions in the past months. So hindi ko lang po alam kung ginagawa kung kailan yung next session na, pero alam ko po ginagawa pa nila ito patuloy. And so these are concrete programs, no, that you could also avail of. So pwede nyo pong hanapin yan. I think they partnered also with DOH here. So mindfulness self-compassion program for frontliners. So pwede po yung mga ganong program. Pero even without those programs, if we're going to find other kinds of help, like seeking support from other professionals, from psychiatrists, or maybe even spiritual spiritual leaders, pwede rin po yun, because finding meaning, finding your why, especially during this difficult time, going back to it, rediscovering yourself, allowing yourself to be grounded in your values. Like, this is my Hippocratic oath, for example. I may be tired, but I will go on. I may feel like I'm not motivated, but I'll do it anyway. As long as you're not doing harm, of course, yun ang unang dapat natin gawin. Do no harm. Maybe you could still do something, no, and contribute. And hopefully that will later on improve. Kasi if you're able to address the other things, like practical things also, like baka hindi ka na kumakain, hindi ka na nag-exercise, di ba? Kasi puro trabaho na lang. So talagang maapektuhan po. So I'll refer back to the 7 S's and hopefully those can be helpful.
Thank you po. So I think last question na po, Doc Jo. So I'm sure sa mental health professionals, very aware po dun sa kumalat na depression scale at maraming nag-take or nagsagot po nun. And naalarma din yung ating mga mental health professionals. So advisable po ba, Doc, na
Oo, sagutin ko na actually hirap po na mag-rely tayo sa lahat ng nakikita sa internet. Baka may tama naman doon na aspects, pero mahirap pong gawin yung basis for diagnosis. No? So rather than do that, I recommend that you consult someone. Hindi naman po kailangan psychiatrist agad kung tingin nyo limited yung access nyo dyan. But there are other helping mental health professionals or in the helping profession that can help you. And sabi ko rin po, even for psychiatrists, meron pong mga free services that are available. And so, if you feel like baka meron to, okay, may iba, tinitingnan lang nila, pero wag natin gawin yung basehan para sabihin, ay, depressed na ako. Or, ito na talaga ako. I mean, let's be cautious also, because we need to make a good complete clinical evaluation to be able to diagnose something.
Thank you, Doc Joff. So, I hope marami pong natutunan yung ating participants sa Q&A session natin. So, let me remind our participants to please accomplish the evaluation form. To receive an electronic copy of your certificate of attendance, please answer the evaluation form through the link flashed on your screen. Again, guys, We still have more Bangon webinars prepared for you. For more details of our programs and activities, you may follow us through our Facebook page at DOST Calabarzon. So, thank you so much to our dear guests for sharing your knowledge and your time. So, to formally close this webinar, let us all welcome the Assistant Regional Director for Technical Operations of DOST Calabarzon, Ma'am Emelita P. Bagsi.
Hello. Good morning po sa ating lahat. Good morning po sa ating participants and sa ating napakagaling na resource speaker, si Dr. Geoffrey Coring, psychiatrist and mental health and wellness specialist. Sir, on and off ang pakikinig ko sa inyo, but the latter part, during the Q&A portion, medyo nakafocus ako. And personally, I learned a lot from you. I'm also one of those mentally stressed na kasi at this point, sir, sabay-sabayan yung mga meetings namin. So, yun siguro, sir, yung isa sa mga, negative impact nitong ating pandemic now that we are having online meetings. So, most of the time, we are attending not only to one, but 2 or 3 meetings at a time. So, personally, it is really a stressful experience for us, focusing on so many things. And then, yung nabanggit nyo din, sir, na now that we are working from home, hindi na natin ma-delineate kung saan ba matatapos yung work natin and saan matatapos yung sa ating respective family. So really, I learned a lot from you, sir. Thank you very much. And narinig ko rin po yung mga question and answer from our participants. So as per checking ko kanina, we had 85 participants dito po sa ating webinar series. And I know na marami tayong natutunan on how to cope with this pandemic and the stressful situation that we are in. So again, pwede ko lang pong personal na ma-share dito is that syempre importante yung ating mga experts like si Dr. Kiring, and also we have our family and friends whom we can share our present situation or our stressful situation. But first and foremost, we have a God who is bigger than lahat ng ating problems, lahat ng stress na meron tayo. And with faith, we can overcome these situations that we are having. Again, magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat, and thank you very much po.
Thank you, Ma'am Emmy. So let us not forget, participants, the 7 ways that Doc Job shared with us. So number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, solution-focused thinking. Number 3, soothing your senses. Number 4, social support. Number 5, service to others. Number 6,
This is really stressful.
spirituality and finding meaning. And 7, self-compassion. So I hope you learned something. And once again, thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday morning. We hope that you learned and you'll pass on the learning. Kabayan, in this trying time, don't forget that science and technology are here with us at kaakibat natin sa sama-sama nating pagbangon. I am Rona D. Mapilis from DOST Calabarzon, striving to bring science closer to the people. We always aim to innovate and make a difference. Thank you. Keep safe and sane. Have a good day.